Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Saturday evening, June 8, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I really appreciate it that you guys have been liking all the videos this week, getting them to more than 100 likes. And I'd love it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes as well. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video, and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more weather lovers or rain lovers just like you guys, so that we can build this weather community in time for the peak of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October, so that we can keep everyone safe. Share this video with your friends, your relatives, your church brethren, and even your co-workers, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the has been like here recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at what the US National Hurricane Center is showing on their 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook. As of their latest update, there's no tropical cyclone activity expected within the next 7 days. However, if we take a look at NHC_TAFB, which stands for the National Hurricane Center's Tropical Analysis and Forecast Branch, we can see that they made a post this morning at about 9:07 a.m. Jamaica time. So they stated 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, June 8. So they stated that the goes east morning infrared images or imagery showing numerous thunderstorms over the northwest Caribbean Sea just south of Cuba. This activity is likely to be accompanied by rough seas, gusty winds, and frequent lightning at times. And they were highlighting this, all of the thunderstorm activity that we can see on these images that are represented by the blues, the greens, the yellows, oranges, and reds. And if we go back to the rainbow satellite images, we can see it all even better. Right here, all of the very heavy thunderstorm activity that has progressed more so across the western to the central Caribbean, even still affecting portions of the Bahamas as we speak. And if we take a look at what the US National Hurricane Center is showing on their Atlantic tropical weather discussion about this feature, they stated here: heavy rainfall in the northwestern Caribbean and southwest North Atlantic. Diffluent flow aloft and abundant tropical moisture surging northeastward continues to generate a large area of scattered heavy showers and thunderstorms across the Bahamas and the northwest Caribbean, including Cuba and adjacent waters. Dangerous lightning, rough seas, gusty winds, and low visibility are likely ongoing in these regions. Scattered moderate convection is currently flowing from 18 degrees north to 22 degrees north, between 77 degrees west and 84 degrees west. And if we remember, Jamaica is located at 77 degrees west and 18 degrees north, so we're definitely in the mix with all of this rainfall activity. Definitely got a number on us being done, especially across northwestern Jamaica today, even though the rest of the island was, if not sunny, partly cloudy and hot. They also stated the soil remains saturated over the Greater Antilles, and therefore it is possible that more heavy rain may lead to flash flooding and mudslides, especially in mountainous terrain. Mariners should exercise caution in these conditions, as these conditions are forecast to continue through the weekend. So they are basically highlighting the system still in Jamaica's latitude and longitude. Even although they didn't call Jamaica's name, we're definitely still being plagued by it, and I'll show you how later on. However, let us take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening. You can see the broken orange line right here associated with that trough. You can still see the ridges of high pressure across the Atlantic's northern portions that are responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. And with these easterly trade winds, we have some Saharan dust from the desert, as well as numerous tropical waves, most of which are squashed down near the intertropical convergence zone. If we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can still see all of the clouds associated with the trough still attached to the cold front that was affecting portions of the northern portion of North Atlantic, still being strung out right there. Lots of shower and thunderstorm activity across the waters. We can also see the numerous tropical waves across the waters of the main development region. And we can also see the intertropical convergent zones clouds. We know the intertropical convergent zone is where all of the air from the northern hemisphere meets the air from the southern hemisphere, and then we have a lot of rising air during the morning. We have those shower and thunderstorm activity, especially right here near the equator. Alright, so we'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today. It was stated that we would have received some morning rainfall across sections of some southern and eastern parishes, and then we would have received some afternoon rainfall across sections of some eastern, northern, and western parishes in Jamaica. And just for reference, southern parishes we're talking about: Hanover, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catharines, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas. While eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, so Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. Western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, so St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, and Trelawney. And for reference, in the afternoon, it was stated that we would have gotten some rainfall in northern Jamaica, so sections of Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland might have gotten in on the mix. But what actually happened? If we take a look at this post that was made at 12:50 a.m., that was a little bit after midnight last night. This post was made on our Twitter page, by the way, at Weather Jamaica, on our Instagram page at weather.jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there, as we make posts throughout the day and apparently through the night that you can't afford to miss, posts that we don't even make here on our YouTube page. So we saw that we had some early morning rainfall as indicated by the Cuban Doppler radar images. We know Doppler radar shows the actual rainfall as opposed to satellite images that can show cloud cover over an area and not necessarily rainfall. Yes, we had a lot of rainfall across Cuba, definitely some flooding that took place there and still ongoing. And we also had some amount of rainfall as represented by the greens coming in from the southeast across sections of some southern and eastern parishes. The greens that we know represent light to moderate rainfall, even some yellows in there that represent some heavy rainfall. And we saw some of that coming into sections of Portland, St. Thomas, sections of Kingston and St. Catherine, even sections of Clarendon got in on the mix during the early morning hours. And we even have some of our commenters confirming the early morning rainfall right here on our YouTube platform. We had Naiki Bent, if I'm not butchering your name, stating rain in Clarendon. We also had Shanika Finn 8769 stating getting some rain in Pamford, St. Thomas. No. So that indeed confirms the rainfall for sections of some southern and eastern parishes during the morning. Then during the afternoon, another post was made at 12:15 p.m. highlighting the visible satellite images. We saw that low-level flow of winds and clouds from the southeast across the island, and with that we had some clouds coming into sections of Clarendon, Manchester, that brought some amount of isolated showers and even some sparkling yellow dust that we know represent some lightning flashes, if not lightning strikes, and most of that pushed up towards the north, where we had some thunderstorm activity across sections of St. Anne, Trelawney, sections of St. James, and especially Hanover got in on the mix. And we can see it all even better as the 1:45 p.m. infrared satellite image that was posted showed the thunderstorm activity right there across the northern and western portions of the island. Definitely some heavy rainfall across sections of Hanover and sections of St. James as well. And if we take a look at the comments coming in, TG Minidal stating rain in Mobe, that was 3 hours ago. Keep in mind that the time is now 5:41 p.m. We also had JA underscore Fid4 stating some serious rain in Lucy. Yeah, I know Lucy is the capital of Hanover, so that definitely confirms the rainfall there. Ray underscore on dot underscore stating Hanover is stormy. We also had underscore dot underscore Rayan stating Hanover is getting it heavy with wind. It's like a tropical storm. I can just imagine. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before the sun went down, we can definitely see that low level flow even better from the southeast. We also saw that we had some amount of clouds still coming into section of eastern St. Thomas, but most of the heaviest weather was right there off to the west of the island. As we can see, we're starting to lose the daylight. If we take a look at the latest infrared satellite images, let me even reload these images so that I have the very latest. So we can still see that we have a lot of strong thunder showers, especially off to the west of the island. And given that it's the trough, I wouldn't even be surprised if some of this backtracks and comes right back across portion of the island, bringing more sunwave rainfall across western Jamaica, maybe even spilling into central and eastern Jamaica. Even although the models are not forecasting, I have to reiterate as always that these troughs are very tricky. They can definitely bring more in the way of rainfall and flooding during the nighttime or the afternoon hours, or they can bring more of that rainfall out to sea and bring dry weather across the island and sunshine than anything else. And with how this trough has been lately, lingering, coming on land, getting off of land, upsetting some persons with rainfall and flooding, and then bringing more into of heat than anything else, I wouldn't be surprised if we wake up or if we get some more rainfall tonight, and then maybe even spilling into tomorrow morning in some spots. Even although the models are not forecasting that, I wouldn't be surprised at all. But as you can see, the heaviest weather is definitely right there off to the west of the island, where we see those blacks and even some purples in there, a lot of sparkling white dots that represent some thunderstorm activity. Unfortunately, the Cuban Doppler radar glitched out at 3:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 2:50 p.m. Jamaica time. But at that time, we saw that we definitely had a lot of rainfall affecting sections of Cuba, and most of the rainfall right there to the northwest of Jamaica. Look at all of these yellows, even some oranges and reds in there that represent some strong to severe rainfall, as we can see by the key on the right. We don't want any of that on land at all. Some of that had the severe in it could even have some tornado activity within there, who knows, or even some freak storm activity. We don't need any of that at all. We can't take the power outages. So yes, stay out of sea, we'll take the rainfall. But if we take a look at what the Cayman radar is showing, let's look at the latest images from the Cayman radar. You can see that yes, there definitely been a lot of rainfall plaguing the Cayman Islands today, if these images will load. Alright, so yes, we had a lot of rainfall across the Cayman Islands today. We can see most of the heaviest rainfall up to the west of Jamaica. Look at these yellows, oranges. We can see that we have more so, and we have those blues and some slight greens across western Jamaica than anything else. So maybe some light to moderate rainfall affecting sections of Hanover and Westmoreland as we speak. Hopefully, by the way, the Jamaican Doppler radar is up and running by July. I spoke with the principal director of the Meteorological Service, Evan Thompson, a couple weeks ago, and he stated that the Jamaican Doppler radar should be up and running by July this year. So hopefully we don't have to be depending on the Cuban radar that glitches out so often, or the Cayman radar that only shows the western half of the island, or even the Guantanamo Bay US military radar that only shows Portland. If we take a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we have 28 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 29 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Sunday, temperature should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 27 degrees Celsius in Kingston. If we take a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, We can see Jamaica right here embedded in some gray colors. At what time is this? This is 18Z on Sunday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Sunday according to the GFS. More so when we have grays and some slight yellows that we see by the key on the right that represents 0 or even 1 degree Celsius above normal temperatures. We know the 0 represents normal temperatures, and we know the normal temperatures for the month of June across Jamaica are about 90 degrees Fahrenheit. When we take a look at the thermometer, 90 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 32.2 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 32 to 33 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Sunday. Taking a look at the dry air map, we know the dry air is represented by what we see on the key on the bottom, the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites, the bulldozers. And we can see that tongue of dry air stretching all the way across from Africa into the main development region, into a portion of the eastern and central Caribbean. We don't want any of that across the Jamaica area right here at all. We want the air to be continuously moist. We want to keep all of these blues that we know represent moist air across our area, so we can have more rainfall to cool down the temperatures. But as it relates to the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Sunday, we do see all of the browns that represent the Saharan dust that should be stretching all the way from Africa across the main development region. You even see some darker shades of browns in there that we know represents that vigorous plume that could definitely cause tremendous hazy skies, not to mention trigger some respiratory illnesses, asthma, sinusitis in some people. Jamaica right here on the low end of the scale in terms of the Saharan dust. Only some lighter shades of browns is what we're going to be experiencing by that time on Sunday. If we take a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we're starting to see more blues and darker shades of blues surrounding the island that we can see by the key on the bottom right. That represents anywhere from 1 to 1.5 meter wave height. And that's because the winds are going to be somewhat strong. For the most part, we see the winds coming in more so from the east, southeast across the island. And we see those brighter shades of greens and some even slight yellows in there that represents anywhere from 20 to maybe close to 25 knots. And we also see that we're going to be having the least amount of winds again across sections of some northern and western parishes. So the weather pattern is back again to favoring northern and western Jamaica with more of that afternoon rainfall. So if by chance we get some morning rainfall, if we get some rainfall coming off of the sea from the east southeast, more than like a section of eastern Jamaica, maybe even sections of some southern parishes, but definitely some afternoon rainfall across sections of some northern and western parishes again, those very areas that we're getting it this afternoon. And with the upper level winds still coming in from the west northwest, definitely going to be favoring more of that rainfall across those spots. We have some disagreement on the modeling for the next day. The GFS is showing that as of 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 7 p.m. tonight, this is 1 hour away, considering that it is almost 6 p.m. We still should have some rainfall as represented by the blues lingering across the island, and I don't disbelieve it, especially considering the latest infrared satellite images, and we know how tricky these troughs can be. It's possible that some of this could spread across the island. It's possible that it could also die down and make way for us to see some stars tonight. We just have to see what unfolds, and I'll definitely be here to keep you posted if we get some lingering rainfall tonight, even into tomorrow, or will the models actually win like what the Euro is showing with little to no rainfall at that very time frame. So we see the differences. We don't like to see disagreement on the modeling. We like to see agreement, we like to see consensus, so that we have a higher certainty with what's exactly going to be unfolding, and we don't see the consensus at all. Yes, we see some dots of blues here and there on the Euro, but not as robust as what we see on the GFS. And it's something similar for the same time frame on Sunday afternoon. So you see we skip from tonight to Sunday afternoon because both maps are not showing much in the way of rainfall for morning rainfall across Jamaica on Sunday. It's straight in the afternoon that we start to see something pick up, and we see it more on the GFS again. sections of northern and western Jamaica than anything else where we see these blues. So sections of Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, section of St. Mary. Euro, not so much at all. There's definitely some disagreement. We do see some dots of blues, however, across eastern and sections of east central Jamaica than anything else. Either way, both accumulated precipitation forecast maps within the next 24 hours are showing that there's gonna be rainfall somewhere in Jamaica, and we see the Euro showing up to at least 0.32 of an inch of rainfall for the most part. The GFS a bit more robust, showing up to at least 0.45 of an inch of rainfall across the west. We'll see exactly what unfolds. Either way, we're grateful that rainfall is going to be affecting somewhere in Jamaica within the next 24 hours. We're in the month of June. We shall receive up to 133.35 millimeters of rainfall during this month. So we'll take all the rainfall that we can get to put some kind of a dent in the heat or the warm temperatures that we're currently experiencing. Alright, so that is it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So we can definitely see that we're still being plagued by the clouds associated with the trough into portion of the Western Caribbean, the Greater Antilles, Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, Cuba, the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos. You can also see the numerous clouds associated with moisture from the tropical waves. We also see the usual thunderstorm activity across northern and South America, spilling into sections of Central America as well. We don't see much taking place across the Leeward Islands or the northeastern Caribbean at all. They're definitely getting in on a break right now. If we even pull up the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, you can definitely see that they haven't been getting much in the way of rainfall at all. Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic definitely getting a break. Anywhere from the British and Virgin Islands all the way down to Dominica. Clear skies more than anything else. But it's when we start to look at the Barbados radar that we start to see some more rainfall. We see some light rainfall to the north of Barbados pushing from east to west, maybe to affect sections of, who knows, maybe Dominica later on, Martinique. But the heaviest weather is right there off to the south of Barbados, pushing from east to west, definitely affecting sections of Grenada as we speak. Section of Tobago definitely about to get some rainfall if they aren't getting that rainfall as yet. And we also see that rainfall right there across sections of Trinidad. They've definitely been getting it throughout the day today associated with the tropical wave. If we take a look at the weather via Doppler radar images, you can see that rainfall that section of southern Florida got this afternoon, section of the Bahamas, section of Cuba, the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico definitely got in some amount of rainfall, not to mention sections of Honduras, northwestern Venezuela, Colombia, and even French Guiana into Suriname. If we take a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we still see those grays, yellows, oranges, and reds plaguing majority of the basin associated with average to above normal temperatures, and this is valid for 18th and Sunday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Sunday, so look out for that. Saharan dust still coming in from Africa to be plaguing most of the central to the eastern Caribbean islands. More so vigorous the more east we go with those darker shades of browns. So we know what usually happens: hazy skies, maybe some respiratory illnesses being triggered in some persons. Ensure that you have your medications handy. As it relates to the wave forecast for tomorrow, we see that both the Euro and the GFS models still have those lighter shades of blues that we know represent 0 to 0.5 meter wave height across sections of the Bahamas, the Gulf of Mexico. But we have those darker shades of blues that represents anywhere from 1 to 1.5 meter wave heights, maybe even up to 2 meter wave heights, where we see those purples to the south of Jamaica. But majority of that should be across the majority of the Caribbean in general. Taking a look at the wind. The winds explain why the wave heights are like what they're showing. The least amount of winds across the Gulf of Mexico with those blues. We have the higher winds across the central to the western and eastern Caribbean. And we see the general flow coming in from the east across the main development region into the eastern Caribbean, curving to the north as we head into the western Caribbean to more of a east-southeasterly to southeasterly kind of flow, averaging anywhere from 15 to 20 knots, maybe even gusting to 25 knots in some spots. But what about the rainfall now? we see that there's definitely going to be some isolated rainfall as indicated by these green colors for the areas that we were just mentioning. It's a section of Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, maybe even spilling into sections of St. Lucia. We can also see some rainfall coming into sections of Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago associated with the tropical wave, French Guiana, Suriname, Guyana, Venezuela, section of Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, Belize, and even the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. We see the heaviest rainfall, however, should be plaguing the Cayman Islands and areas to the northwest of there, the section of Cuba still in the mix, section of the Bahamas, and even sections of Florida. I know that when both maps from the Euro and the GFS are in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.